Okay, I'm back. I hope I have enough memory here on my phone, but here we are. Alright, got a screwdriver, a pair of needle nose. I'm going to rebuild this track. Now I have a couple backups here. I'm going to throw some light on here because the lighting in here is terrible. It's missing the end stopper here. This is the original slider, and I have the ball bearings in here as well. So what it looks like is that this is missing. There's two styles. There's the new stopper beat like that, and then there's the one with the half round on it, and this has the half round. So I'm going to try to match them up as far as that goes. You don't really need to, but okay. So rebuilding these tracks, there's a bunch of different ways to do it. If you don't have all these extra parts, which I recommend anytime you're driving down the road and you see an old dresser being thrown out, salvage it. Grab what you can off of it. Drawer tracks are great. So the way to get this open is you want to, excuse me, you want to push this through on the back side. So there's the front and there's the back. And what we want to do is just push with your needle nose and it pops right out. So this is what we want. We want this part. Now, it's pretty simple. On the track, keep a hold of your ball bearings. See how this works out for me. You can use a magnet. There's different ways to do this. You can push down. What we want to do is take the ball bearing and put it in the track itself. So we got one in, do the top, one in the bottom, and we want to slide it in one by one. So there we go, we got it started. Now, if you don't have all the ball bearings, what you can do is you can go every other one. But you always want to have these ones on the end where it starts, because here's what happens. This slider right here, when you slide the other track in that's on the drawer, it's riding on the inside here. So it's not really on the outside as much, it's more on the inside that you get your friction. Alright, so I'm going to do the bottom. Now you could pull this track off and it'll probably be a little easier to work with, leverage wise. I don't want to unscrew it. But basically you can come in here and you just unscrew the screws that are over here on there. And a couple other things that I didn't mention. This right here, instead of using a shim up in here where you would need a shim, this is where a shim would go, whether you want to pull the track in or out to tighten it up. A lot of people don't know that these are self-adjusting, and what you do is in the factory they'll put screws in just to screw whatever, but what you want to do is remove these screws if you have screws there and keep that one there. And what this does is it will, see how that pushes in and out? You can adjust your track back and forth by having a screw there. So you could push this out, you wedge a screwdriver up in there, and you could slide it back and forth whichever way you need to go to make your track tighter, or your drawer, because what will happen with a drawer, sometimes the drawer will come out a little wonky. That's what I want to say. So yeah, I'm just putting the ball bearings back in here. So you can generally put the top ones in first, and then come along on the bottom and slide them in one by one. So I'm going to go ahead and put a couple of these on the top, move this along a little quicker. Sorry about the lighting and the videoing. If it's a little off, it's because this thing's attached to my belly. And it's a big old belly. Not really, but so how that works out. So you do the top ones first. Makes it a little easier. Drop them in place. I don't do the whole thing, but you can do what you want. So you slide it in one by one on the bottom. And luckily I have all the ball bearings here, so I didn't have to rob from another piece. Now there's generally two sizes. These are the larger ball bearings. I don't know the exact millimeters, sorry. That's not something I keep up on, but you could tell. There's smaller ones and there's larger ones. These are the larger ball bearings. So yeah, there we go. So that's back in place. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, and this just pops in the track. So there we go. So on another video I'll get into rebuilding the whole track itself. Actually, what I'll do real quick is dismantle this one, because I can use the parts. So I took the front off right here. I took this stopper, which is now in place on that. It's ready to rock. What I'm going to do is I'll slide this off. I'm not going to rebuild this because I don't really need it, but I'm going to show you how to remove the track. And if you want to use the way to keep these ball bearings to stick in the little holes as well, what you can do is just take a little Vaseline or some beeswax and run it across there, and the ball bearings will stick in there. They'll stay in there. But when these get bent up and they're like wonky like this, out of shape, usually you want to take needle nose are going to be your best friend. And you want to just pull them down, and if you have a vise, you set this down into a vise and you can clamp it down and make these straight, because that's what you want. You want this to be as straight as possible. So there we go, we got that. Now this will stop. This has a stopper on it. This track, it won't come out. So what we want to do to pull this slider out on the inside is we want to take this on the back of the track, or glide, whatever you want to call them. As you pull this off, which is right there, and we push this down on the inside, and you slide the track right on out. So I've taken, see that? I'm taking it out. We have the top ball bearings that the inside track lays on. So I'm going to lay this in real quick. We do this, we set this side in, we set this side in, like so, and remember where your front is. So your front is going to be this, and what we do is we just slide her back in, and there we go. So that's how you do these the top sliders. And then you want to turn this back out and put the bumper back on. So that's another way that you can, but you see, you want to get that's how you deal with these bearings on the inside that the slide rides on. So yeah, there we go. Track rebuild 101. Hopefully I'll have time to do some later at another time. Yeah, that's back in place. See my lighting in here? It's so bad. Terrible. This is a pretty good screwdriver to have too. A nice size long one where you can come in and you can do any kind of adjusting. Can't even see where I'm at. You can come in and do any kind of adjusting you need to do with a larger screwdriver. You want to push it in or push it out and go in or out. I'm not going to get into that at this point. Maybe if my drawer doesn't go back in properly. So there we go. That's one side and that's the other side. And then we'll see how this drawer goes in real quick. We want to line. We want to line up. I can't see. Right in here. We want to line this to ride inside that with those two little grooves. I like having it all the way back. Some people like having them out. I feel if you have them out the way that they are and try to put the track in, you might end up bending it. Yeah, so there we go. You hear that click? That's a good thing. So it slid right back into place, nice and easily. There we go. Done deal.